Christian, you know how certain memories can haunt families for generations, can haunt nations, civilizations, peoples for generations. Consider the memory of the Holocaust for the Jews, of World War I for Europe. You can hardly read a book written after 1918 in which the ghosts of World War I don't haunt its pages. If you read Harry Potter, if you read The Lord of the Rings, if you read the Chronicles of Narnia, throughout there is the ghosts, the memory of World War I. Even now, memory is a powerful thing. What will your memories of your life be? What will be others' memories of your life? For one day you will meet Christ face to face, and you will understand then. You will know the totality of your being. You will see life clearly. You may see it now as in a dim, dark glass, but then you will see it. You will understand. You will look back at your life there in a crystal clear reflection, and you will know who you were. You will know what you did. You will know what you didn't do. You will understand who you were and what you did. We cannot change it then. This is our forever. Were we perfect? Probably not in the typical sense. But look around. Look around this sanctuary, look around this city, look downtown, look around the world. Did we do everything we could? Did we leave everything on the field of play? Did we give all of ourselves for those around us, our teammates, our companions, our family, our fellow travelers to the grave? Did we leave it all on the field? But we can look at each other and say, we were perfect. Did we play with no regrets? Because one day you will see it clearly. They will see it clearly. You can't change it. When you meet Christ, He will know how you played the game, and you will know. You can't fudge it. You can't make excuses. What we do in life does echo in eternity. I used to get these questions sometimes from people like, what will you do when you meet Jesus? What will you say? People used to always say, oh, I'd run up to Him and give Him a big high five, and we'd be best buds forever, hooray. I often wonder, could you really do that? Think about it. You're meeting Jesus. You're meeting the embodiment of truth, of perfection, and love. And you see yourself. Are you going to be able just to run up to that and act like everything is great? I think of Peter's reaction when he first got it. When he first saw Jesus for who Jesus was, what did he do? He fell down on his knees and said, "Get away from me, for I am a sinful man." And that, Peter didn't even understand it fully. One day we'll meet Jesus. We'll see what love really is, what hope really is, what goodness really is, and we'll see ourselves. We may have eternity in heaven, but we only have a few quarters here. How are we going to live? Paul says, present yourselves, your whole selves, as a living, holy, and pleasing sacrifice to God. You don't want to live with regrets. You don't want to meet your fellow human beings in heaven knowing you could have helped them. You could have been there for them, but we're not. Imagine. Sometimes when we think of heaven, we think of meeting all our family and our friends again. It's going to be this great banquet. And yes, that's true. But we're going to also probably meet that person we ignored on the street. We're probably going to meet those people that lived around us that we never actually looked at. We're going to meet those people that struggled their whole life to get by when we had so much. We're going to meet them too. We're going to understand the fullness of their life and their struggle. And they're going to understand all we had. What we didn't do, what we did do. There's no guilt there. There's no condemnation there. But you still know. You still have your memories. I think sometimes Christian theologians have made this mistake of kind of kind of poo-pooing life away, saying, oh, it's just a test or just this brief time before we get to heaven. But this life is important. If we look at the ministry of Jesus, he cared about what we did in this life. He was very insistent on living a certain way in this life. It's kind of like sometimes when you disappoint your parents, and they don't really get on you for it. They don't say anything, but you understand where you messed up. And sometimes that knowledge of letting them down hurts more than any punishment they could hand down. I sometimes imagine that's what it'll be like when I first meet Jesus. These are all the ways I let Jesus down. But luckily, his love helps lift me up. But I still can't change what I didn't do. I know it. You know it. Jesus knows it. His love is bigger than that. But we still know it. So can we live life with no regrets? The newest version of A Christmas Carol came out this week with Jim Carrey. Have you heard about that movie? Has anybody actually seen it yet? I'm looking forward to it. You probably know the story of A Christmas Carol. Mr. Burns from The Simpsons describes it this way. He says it is about a successful capitalist businessman who is visited by 3 socialist ghosts. I laughed. Technically, Scrooge is visited by 4 ghosts, though, because he's first visited by his old partner, Jacob Marley, who comes with a warning, with a message. He says, it is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide, and if that spirit does not go forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world and witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth, and turn to happiness. Jacob Marley knows about regrets. He wears his regrets every day as a chain around his neck, regrets he forged link by link. He cries out to Scrooge, "O captive bound in double iron, not to know that ages of incessant labor by immortal creatures, for this earth must pass into eternity before the good of which it is susceptible is all developed. Not to know that any Christian spirit working kindly in this little sphere, whatever it may be, will find its mortal life too short for its vast means of usefulness. Not to know that no space of regret can make amends for one's life's opportunities missed. Yet such was I. Such was I." Do you know of regret? A missed opportunity? A time you knew you could have done more, you could have given more? A couple years ago, I was coaching wrestling over at Midwest Central High School, and our team was a lot of new people. We were wrestling 2 high schools that night, and after the first series of matches against the first high school, things weren't going too well. I think we lost about every single one of them. All the kids came off really angry, grabbing their headgear, slinging it down, sitting with their head in their hands, because they knew why they lost. It wasn't that they were not as good. They weren't even really trying out there. By the second period, they just were kind of gassed and gave up. And they were all sitting there angry. So it was time for a talk. Do you like the way you feel right now? Does it feel good? Because you know you could have beaten them. You know you were stronger and better than them, but you gave up. You didn't even try out there. You got tired and you were thinking, you know what? I'm tired. This is hard. I'm just going to stop now. And so you stopped and you lost. Does it feel good? Does it feel good? Trust me, I know something about just giving up and stopping. And it doesn't feel good. And it still doesn't feel good 10 years later. It was the last match of my high school career. It didn't have to be, but it was. It was the regional championships. I was wrestling for 3rd place, a chance to go on to the state championships. I was up on this kid 15-3.